you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
My peace and the blessing be with you by your very presence. We have a little round table discussion this evening concerning the powers of the Djinn and those that believe in them today. Our people have a tendency to look towards those in authority above them for hope, for salvation. Comes off the table many times to be accepted into the greater fold of society, to give greater advancement, and at the same time to be so-called lifted up in the ranks of this government. But Ahezaah is showing us now with the sending through Lord Holy-Apostle Deen that this world is going to be taken down. This is the hour of the day that the Lord has promised, and that the people of the world will be made known to them that the Lord is not pleased with anyone, whether religion, politics, so forth and so on, and that this is the time that the Lord has made that the messenger is here. And with that being said, we want to get into this roundtable discussion about, first of all, many of those who watch our program, we mentioned something about the Djinn, the hidden powers that be. And I would like the Holy Apostle get into a little bit about what the Djinn represent, why the Lord have them here as a sign, and things of that nature. So with that being said, I'll give it to the Lord Holy Apostle. My brother, you can join any time and have a good discussion.
First of all, may peace and blessing be with everyone's presence.
May his peace and blessing presence as well.
The people are it's right for the people to look towards their leaders, for leadership, in hope, for prosperity, and for right guidance. Now, the problem we have is that it's not so much them looking towards these Djinn.
Right.
And we need to explain what the Djinn is, But for them, it's not the problem of them looking towards them as it is the problem of these people being wrong, the beast, the leaders being the demon beast that the Lord Most High speaks about, or the Djinn of the demon beast that the Lord speaks about in the book of Revelation and other books, Quran and other books,
Yes.
And, I hear people throw out the word Djinn a lot, and they be talking about Caucasian people. They call all Caucasians the Djinn. That's not true. The Djinn, the meaning of Djinn actually is the Lord speaking about men who are in power and they're in such a status that you may not ever see them. The general public never know who they are. Right. And they are powerful men that stand behind government, behind presidents who are figureheads, like maybe in the chief of staff, and even men who stand behind the chief of staff, the military chief of staff, and run this government, not just this government, but other governments. You need to remember, too, that the Lord said that this government, the Jezebel, in this day and time will be ruling kings and queens, kings of other nations. There will be 10 specifically that it spoke about them ruling. And our people need to understand, they need to come back. They need to come back to the Bible and the Quran, scripture. They need to go back to the Vedas and other books, from 5,000 years ago that talked about this day. They need to come back and really take it literally what the Lord is saying.
Oh, yeah.
Understand that the demon beast among mankind is the one that has made them think that this is not real, to believe more in hell than they do heaven, to believe more in the devil than they do the Lord Most High. And it's a fact. It's a fact that just the other night I was, looking at a program, and a Hollywood producer said that he makes all these pictures, like the underworld and all of the negative, demonic, vampire pictures and what have you. He said he make those because it's easier to believe in hell than it is to believe in heaven. I forget this guy's name.
Right.
But he's a major producer and producing movie series, movie theater pictures.
Lord Holy-Apostle.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that when the people are due to believing in hell more than Is that because they're made to think? Might that be because they're made to think that hell is not a serious matter that's before them?
No, it's because being born in this hellified society, where if you do wrong, you're rewarded for it.
Yeah.
You know, look at how. Okay, let's start with the actors and they getting their awards. You know,
right.
The African American actors getting their awards.
Mm-hmm.
You have an actor like Denzel Washington, even the girl,
Halle Berry. Okay, yeah.
I think who's getting one now? This guy who did
Terrence Howard, I believe.
What's that? The
Hustle and Flow. Terrence Howard,
right.
They
getting these awards, and they getting great awards, and as far as the society considers them great. But what did they have to do to get the awards? Denzel had to strip his nature, his soul, and do that negative picture about the police officer who was dirty.
Yeah, training day. Right.
You know, and that wasn't the character that he wanted to portray, you know, in life to people. You understand? But he had to do negative. This guy,
Terrence
did the hustle and flow thing.
Terrence Howard, right.
Dealing drugs and stuff, and them dealing with prostitutes and whores and what have you. Look at Halle Berry got to strip herself down, you know, to flesh, man, and uphold that the body, the physical body is the most important thing, you know, and the thing to be sought, and the thing to look at to grade greatness or what have you. You know what I'm saying? You know, and with them awards, they're telling people be negative. You know, that's just one thing.
So true.
You know?
Yeah, because the Lord has blessed us. Like I said, I know you told me for years, looking back, and I would go to the movies, always look at the movie with a more objective, not just so much for the entertaining in and of itself, but look what they're really trying to present. And I'm looking back now, all the movies that we talked about, the negative films, you know, the Dark World, the Vampire, these movies, they put more of the truth out than the so-called good films.
Right.
I'm noticing that, you know, that they called good. You know, this is a film that you should go see.
This is another part of this thing, why hell is more recognizable than heaven, or more believable than heaven. If you go and you look at the pictures that's relative to evil, they put evil out front. They tell you the truth about how the hierarchy and that's hidden in the realms of the Djinn, fighting against one another now in this new picture, Underworld 2, Underworld with the vampires and the werewolves.
Right.
Those are two segments of the Djinn.
Right.
Those are two segments of the Djinn fighting in secrecy so they can become the leaders in ruling the world in evil. They fighting now amongst themselves, but that's part of the curse and damnation that the Lord has put on them in this day and time. The same as it filters all the way down to the people and come right to the hood, fighting over colors, the gangs and stuff. That's all the way from the top to the bottom. You know, people fighting one another in this hell. But if you look at that and you understand that they telling you truths. You know, all the vampire pictures they telling you truth. But you go to the pictures where they have, like, it's a church setting and everything, and they telling you, you know, be the Lord, and, you know, and turn the other cheek and all this stuff. They leading you astray. They trying to make you slaves. They trying to oppress you. They trying to give you an oppressed mind, you know, a depressed mind. And then they turning you away. Just like you look at the vampire pictures and you got the Catholic priest. They always, the Catholic priest pop up somewhere when they fighting the beast.
So true.
They fighting the devil, and then you get whipped down by the devil, and then you see the Catholic priest crying for his own sins.
Yeah.
Because he's done so many things, and therefore he can't beat the demon because he ain't right. But they tell you the truth, right? But then they bring two evils in. They bring the greater evil and the lesser evil, and that's what they're producing or promoting in the world today. So you got to go for evil to get over. If you don't get over, they're not going to reward you, because every entertainer, athlete, or what have you see that promote good, I mean outright good, and they hit it on the nail, truth on the nail, they start taking them out. They start taking them out, taking their voice away, getting them away from the media, just they shut them down.
They say like they're not sellable, they're not marketable personalities. Like that.
I remember that young Muslim brother who was playing basketball, Abdul Rauf.
Yeah.
He made a statement, and it was truth. He said that this country, the flag, but he didn't say it all. The flag to other people in other nations represents tyranny.
Oppression. Yeah, he showed up there.
And in his opinion, it did, because him being an African American, he had been, he's a part of this whole slave trade, this whole oppression, this mental slavery that's still going on. I mean, he spoke truth, and they went crazy, and they did everything to get this young man to take back those words and stand behind the flag, when they should have just left the man alone. This is supposed to be a country of freedom. Freedom of the press, freedom of being, freedom of speech, freedom of everything. Why they make him come out to even salute the flag? Why they make him come? Why they put the light on him for that? If they, if wisdom prevailed, they would have just said, okay, anybody that don't want to do that, don't mention them. Don't ever mention them. Let him stand in the back. Let him do his thing. Let him have his right. And then when the game gets started, let him come out. You could tell the people, hey, he's going through a ritual back there.
Right.
He's going through his own personal ritual. And that's the man.
I remember that. I found that so ironic because he was exposed by a newspaper person who used their so-called First Amendment rights to abuse this man's so-called.
Yeah, they abuse him. And every Muslim that I know that went against him, like Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Mr. Abdul Hakim Ahezaah took him down, burnt down Kareem's house real quick, took Hakim's knees away.
Bad problem. One of the best players.
Took him right out. But people won't look at that and say, oh, that has something to do with them, going against this young man's rights. They start speaking and turning Islam into some propagation of their own mentality against this guy, and this guy wasn't one of those types of Muslims that's out there trying to do harm to this society, this nation. This was a good young man. He believed in authority and what happened. The same with us. We believe in authority. We believe in righteousness. We believe in being right and being in order. If this government is in order, if this local government, state, federal, if they are in order, we believe in being with them in order. But because we speak the truth and they are out of order, which has nothing to do with us, they're eventually going to try to take us down. If we get enough of an audience listening to us, they're going to try to take us down.
Part of preparation of this show is in doing that. I know you touched on many things what I easily give you in dealing with the 42 months, but the devil had the China roaming free here. And as we see now, it's roaming free because its time's at hand. The Lord has given you so much of its wisdom to share with the people of the world. If the people would just hearken and listen to what's being said to them, looking at this country in particular because it's where we live at and in the state, but the word that the Lord has given to this country is that if you be right, you have a chance to turn back to the Lord and what is sitting down. And then your political leaders that are out there, and they're fighting now, the Lord showed them that they're fighting because of the ports going on now, the bond of the ports.
Well, it doesn't matter, excuse me.
Go ahead, no.
It don't matter why they fighting. It's that the Lord said they was going to fight, and the Lord is making them fight. In the Church of Divine Book of Recitation, we put in there that it was going to happen back in 98. Up in the White House and Congress and what they doing now, fighting like crazy in Congress. But you know what? This is just the beginning of that. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And our people got to realize that the Lord is real, the time is real, everything is real. They can keep running. They're afraid of me and what I'm saying. You know that. And they can keep running behind these plastic leaders of theirs, who claim to be social activists and what have you, when they socially filling their pockets, getting positions so their sons and daughters can be leaders, tomorrow and what have you. But they have to realize, our people have to realize that, what has happened with the earth being turned off its axis and tsunami and all these things that was said by Nostradamus and all things that's in the books of Revelation, Isaiah, and many other books, and even in the letters of the apostles, they got to realize that this stuff is real. And it's coming for them personally. And all this fighting and crazy with the children going against their parents and what have you, going in the opposite direction of what Ahezaah caused Elijah to call most of our people away from.
Right.
They're going back to it even with a vengeance. That's because the Lord has cursed and condemned them. And it's going to get worse. They looking towards the Djinn. They looking towards the government to straighten this thing out, not knowing that the government, man, the authorities, they capitalize on this stuff so much. You know, every brother that's killed, man, you get in these colors. You understand?
Yes.
They make billions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Off of making more colors and promoting what's happening with these people, and not just in the news, but having the filmmakers promote it.
Oh yeah.
Where they make more money, man. If they didn't have crime and stuff, where would the police work?
Lord Holy-Apostle, we're talking about our people believing in the Djinn. I recall you once explained to me the nature of the Djinn as a people that was of a certain fiery spirit.
Yeah, they have a fiery spirit. You have no compassion there. But you know, it's hard for people to actually believe. Like me, it's easy for them to believe that I'm a deluded individual. You know, I talk too much about the Lord. I talk too much about the real of relating to the unseen. You know, I'm too stringent. You know, it's like I want to take the fun away from life or something. You know, so he's deluded. He ain't right. You know, but when you got men whom Allah itself puts in power with their evil, because we got to realize that Allah is the one that gives the power to all things. You know. And that when the time comes, when that it desires or it has prophesied, because Allah is the prophet, the true prophet is the Lord Most High. Okay, not the men that is the signs of the Lord, the ones that we say that's a prophet. No, the true prophet is the Lord. No one can prophesy what's going to happen without the Lord being in that prophecy, causing it to be said and causing it to happen. You understand? So now they say I'm deluded for that, you know, but they look at these people whom Allah gives the illusions of power to, who open the door for people like Oprah Winfrey and make her a billionaire. Open the door for Bill Cosby or any soft-spoken person, one who they know is not going to actually defend the, you know, right. Like, because Oprah started her show, man, it was all about degrading, you know, African American men. And you got young ladies even coming on this public access station who is about degrading men. They think it's all about women, you know? But the Lord itself is the one that put this pyramid together of life about how we supposed to be in terms of leadership, you know, the body and of a family. Right. You understand? But because we are in this hellified world today, because the Djinn is making the evil seem fair, they can stand up and they can defy the Lord by defying men and defying their own selves, defying their own natures. You know, and I guarantee you, the women that sit around talking about, you know, men and what have you, they ain't got a solution for the problem, and they're alone, and they're miserable, and at night they're angry,
And being that way, they turn that venting on.
And then they try to raise children, raise sons.
Yeah.
How they gonna raise a son? A woman gonna raise a son. She angry with men. What kind of son she gonna make?
So,
not just soft, but make them subservient to women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Lord, we talked about once the Holy Quran being a book of prophecy as well.
Right.
Whereas most of the Islamic world doesn't look at it that way.
Not anymore.
No. They talk.
Well, you got to realize that most of the Islamic world has become of the new religion of Hadithism that the Lord coined. The Lord said there's a new religion that they made. Just like Christianity was a new religion, a false religion that was made out of what Allah gave to Israel and Moses and Abraham and what have you. Hadithism is a false religion that was created out of what Allah gave to Muhammad and the Quran and Islam.
But in the Quran it talks about a world of people that's going to live in evil and it's going to be made fair seen to them.
Well, we've gone through that period, yeah. We're at an end period, as a matter of fact. We're at a time where the Lord is about to shake up this world, you know, in a way that we can't deny it, you know. You think that the tsunami was something, man. We got some things about to happen. We got some things going down, man. It's like, I can promise you something. I take 1,000 years to bring that promise to be.
Right.
But when the time comes, whatever happened previous to that 1,000 years, what don't matter to you. What matters is what's happening in the moment.
Right.
You understand? And see, the Lord tells us in the Holy Quran a lot. Don't fret not over what it gives to the disbelievers. Don't be concerned about that. Let them have that. I give that to them. Let them have that. Because when my time comes, when I step up with my messenger and I give my word and I bring forth my angels, my warrior angels,
oh yeah,
the matter will be settled. Ahezaah said when it sends down an angel, the matter will be settled.
Yes, sir. People, think about what's being given to you from the Lord Most High. This thing, the beautiful part about this message that I like so much, Ahezaah's calling African American people today to stand up, be accounted, and what's been given as a grace to them. But Ahezaah said at the same time, it is taking them down for them turning away a deaf ear, so to speak, to the word of the Lord Most High, through this man, Holy-Apostle Deen. But this message for anyone that's seeking true salvation today, and the beautiful part that he talked about, the Djinn. See, people think of the Djinn like they only think Caucasian, but we see our own people face of the economy, the riots, the Colin Powell. They're in there as well. And they're controlling world politics, world policy, what's being governed, what's taking place in the world. And then when things go awry, they're going to always put us up first. They scapegoat. Because what they said is precedent in politics, it's so slick, you know.
It's people like Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, those types of people that they use as covers, you know.
Yeah.
One thing about Djinn, the Lord Most High spoke to Prophet Muhammad about Gog and Magog.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The Antichrist, the A.H.A.D.
Yes, sir.
You know. And it said that these people, the leaders of them, would be blue-eyed people.
Right.
You know, they changed that in the Quran, said blurred eyes,
yeah.
made a big controversy over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if the Muslims were true, the Arabic-speaking Muslims, those who know, they would not allow people to translate that falsely. They'd say, well, these are people, but they're part of this Djinn system. They're part of this New World system. They're part of the beast. You understand? Oh, yeah. So they have allowed the Quran to be translated in false terms. Certain parts of it. They have allowed this, and the thing about it is that one thing about the devil, it's the opposite of the Lord Most High. You do good, the Lord will bless you, reward you good. With the devil, you do good, eventually it's gonna slap you down. It's going to, because it don't have any fairness about it. And the Caucasians that's ruling, they're not going to give that up. They're not going to ever give that up. It don't matter how many people of different nationalities or races, I should say, that's a part of their hierarchy. Mm-hmm. They will never rule. They will never step out. They will never. And in order for us to get an African American president in this country, you better believe that he or she gonna have to be totally whitewashed.
Literally.
You see, but see, our people, the African American people, don't care. They take anybody in, man. Yeah. They fight to get a brother in who say he ain't black. You know? Yeah. They don't care who it is. If he of color, that's our people. You know? So if somebody who is completely whitewashed get into office and they start castigating, you know, African Americans, man, it still don't matter to them. You know, we moving on up. You know.
There's 2 points you made in the conversation, you know, prior to this show, that if people really understand what's taking place, they would be horrified. Because one thing that the Lord Most High said through Lord Holy-Apostle Deen is that this is their house. No matter who get in the rank, they're not getting up their house. Right. And the second thing that he said was about how our people, they put up our people who are so-called leaders, you know, entertainers, so forth and so on. And these are the ones that are hand-picked. Understand what I'm saying? Hand-picked by the Djinn. For purpose. For purpose. And presented to you, and he said, as long as they look like us, we for him.
I guarantee you, Oprah Winfrey if she turned the other cheeks. Because she got quite a few. She turned the other cheeks and turned her back on the people that have put her in power. They will not only strip her of her money and her powers, they will disgrace her to no end.
Right.
You know, and our people will see that those millions and billions of dollars in the positions of power that she had will not mean a thing. You understand what I'm saying? It won't mean a thing.
We want to say, Lord, you're given to speak the word of truth, and it's an uncompromising word. So we talked about the issue of women. We want to let them know that this is not an anti-woman position because the producer of our program is a woman.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And a main executive and officer of community of our organization.
Yeah.
Well, if women sit down and look at this show and they think that because of that one statement that we made, makes this an anti-woman show, then they're looking for trouble. They're one of those women who don't want order.
Right.
You understand? I'm not the Lord Most High. I didn't create this order. Allah created this order of humanity. Right. And it is the one that put men amongst human beings as leaders in front. It is the one that caused the women to have the babies and to have the strength to have the babies and to have the wit or wisdom to help guide that man. You understand? Because the man without the woman is lost.
Oh yeah.
You know? The man, I'm telling you, they try to say Jesus, was celibate all his life. We know that the beast lied and said that. We know that Jesus had family, Jesus got married, Jesus went on about his way and did the Lord's work.
Oh yeah.
But let's get to the priests, the hundreds of thousands of priests who tried to follow Jesus and what they claimed Jesus did.
Right.
And look how many freaks we didn't get out of Catholicism. Look how many freaks. And the Lord wrote it down in the book that they will be as in the way that they are.
Oh yeah.
You know? So if it worked for Jesus, why it don't work for the priests? And if it worked for Jesus, why none of the other messenger prophets of the Lord Most High, why they didn't do it? You understand?
So true, so true.
And if Jesus was the Son of the Lord, as they said, the only begotten Son, like the Lord went and had sex with someone, or can possibly bring something out of something that's not itself,
right?
Because we know that all things is eternal, is infinite, is almighty. There's nothing outside of it. You understand? If it did that, then why would it stop Jesus short of doing all other things a man would do?
Maybe it's not a confusing teaching, it's like intentional.
Yes, it's intentional.
Oh yeah.
People don't realize, even Christians don't realize. I talked to a sister of mine the other day. They do not realize that Christianity was put together 300 years after Jesus. Oh, yeah. They do not realize that some of the most important works of the apostles of Jesus was thrown away or hid. Because the Djinn will never throw it away, always keep, because they got to refer back to it.
Oh yeah.
They don't realize that they twisted and turned all them things 300 years. Politicians, religious politicians, just like what we got in this society today. You got religious minister politicians who's going for the money and the power, who's taking their religion up in there and mixing it with the dash out, with the evil ones. You understand? So they can rule. They compromise, and that's what they did. They got together 300 years after. I think it was St. Augustine and some other people got together, so-called St. Augustine.
Right.
They got together and chose certain works and enacted their religion. Now, that's not anything that the Lord Most High did. Right. The Lord Most High didn't send down that. And furthermore, Paul, the liar Paul, one who was born Saul, Ahezaah says that he was a liar. He was a liar when he went to that trip to Rome and came back talking about the Lord interceded and said he didn't need Jesus and he was enlightened himself and he was just that. He was the one that the Romans said, you speak to them people who are not believers and you keep them under control. That way we'll allow you. People don't realize that there was a number of people like Paul back in that time who was given leave to lead certain people, but they were power hungry. Some of them even had gone back to Rome trying to get more power, and they were slain. They were killed for trying to get power. And they were leaders. But Paul, being a Roman-born Hebrew, being educated by he was an intellectual. He was very smart. Where like these apostles, they weren't educated. Just like Jesus wasn't educated.
Right.
You understand? But this guy was educated. He was book-worthy. You understand? So he was able to take what he heard and put it together and then get a conversation, a doctrine and put it out there and mix it with what was out there, what the people was being affected by, what Jesus brought, and then here comes that Pauline Christianity from the start.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ahezaah is so merciful with his giving down. Part of the program, again, is part of breaking away the disorder and bringing back the order of the day that the Lord has established for this time. This has been an I-Have moment. If you like what you heard, if you have any comments, write to A.H.A.D Incorporated, Post Office Box 8795, Milton, New Jersey, 07103. That is A.H.A.D Incorporated, Post Office 8795, Milton, New Jersey, 07103. This has been an I-Have moment, the calm before the storm. I hope you like what you heard and think of what's been given from the Lord Most High, because this is the hour of the day. May Ahezaah's peace and other blessings be within and about your presence.
Ahezaah's peace and blessings be within and about your presence.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you